EstherMarie with us. Hi, EstherMarie. How has your week been?
Hi. Oh, it's been interesting. Another week of change, but I've been really productive. I didn't tell you this, but did you know I was creating a new fragrance?
Oh, no, you didn't. No, do
Well,
tell.
I do my Esther Marie oil number 2. Well, some people don't know it, but there's candles in it, and we started mixing and blending perfumes with it because so many people love the smell of it, obviously with the neroli and everything. So yeah, we have to sit and leave them for 3 months though.
Right.
So when I saw you last, they would have been made, but I actually opened them yesterday and smelt them. And there's 3 strengths. There's a perfume, an eau de toilette, and a cologne. And when I first smelt them, they just didn't smell anything like what I wanted them to smell like. And it's amazing working with aromatherapy oils, how they completely change over a period of time.
Very, very. Oh, do they? Like they blend, they
Yeah,
mature.
yeah.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
the first thing you want to do
Wow.
is open it and smell it, and it smells nothing like it. So that's been really nice because it's been like I think smells really good with sort of change and how it makes you feel. I think when you can smell, it works on your senses, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. Of course, we coaches are working with our senses all the time, particularly when we're using NLP. So what we see, hear, feel, taste, and smell are very, very important. So how your makeup feels to us and how those fragrances are massive in terms of how we feel about ourselves. And I can't wait. I can't wait, actually. So actually, the essence is based on the number 2 oil, EstherMarie?
Yeah, so you've got your neroli, which is a queen of aromatherapy oils, and then you've got geranium. Geranium I chose, then found out how good it was for the skin, but I chose it because it reminded me of my granddad's garden because he used to grow geraniums. And then sweet orange because it's just got a really uplifting smell and it's really good tonic for the skin as well. But the actual smell of it is just lovely. So I made my oils based on the fact that I loved the smell of them and then found out how wonderful they are. So I did it a bit backwards, really.
Well, how lovely. And sweet orange is one of my favourite scents of all time.
Mm.
So that really works for me. So I shall be putting my order in very soon, EstherMarie.
I think I need to
Very.
send you a gift. I think you've been working very
Oh,
hard, Louise. You haven't had a day off, have you? For
no, we haven't had a day off, but we've been having a good time and obviously with the dogs as well. So just a little plug for our dog meat trade survivors from South Korea. We're hoping that when the lockdown lifts, we'll be able to get some flight volunteers from South Korea. So we're doing stuff behind the scenes for the dogs, and we're doing lots and lots of live broadcasts. And we're still training people to become coaches. So yeah, very busy, very, very busy. And I'm very happy to be busy as well. So that's great for us. What we are going to talk about today, EstherMarie, is we're going to talk about skin, and we're going to talk about the changes in skin. And of course, you can use me as a kind of a kind of a, I don't know, blank canvas, even if you like, because
Mhm.
my skin obviously is aging all of the time. And there are many changes that I see in my skin. So I shall be asking you, I shall be digging for information through
Yeah,
what you're
okay.
saying today so that can I can actually, get some answers. So
Definitely.
EstherMarie, changes in skin. What are the kind of, I think we've got a delay going on the broadband. Nothing new to us now, EstherMarie, is it? There's always the
No.
broadband issues. What are the changes that you see in skin and that you're particularly alert to and work with?
Okay, well, just want to just add one more thing in. According to my phone down here, we've got some people watching, but Facebook now, I believe, has a really funny way of letting people know when we go live. So the more, if you just can kind of like put a thumbs up or send a little heart or something, apparently that tells Facebook that people are here, and sort of sends the messages out so people can watch it. But for me, I would say majority of people come to me now because they see changes in their skin. And I sat down this morning and thought I'd make a list of some of those reasons. And some of them are really obvious and some of them aren't. The first one, obviously, is age. So, obviously, we go from childhood to teenagers, and then we move into sort of middle age. And then the next thing is we jump into those years where we really start to see change. And the areas that we see change are actually identified as individual areas. So that's your eyebrows actually move position, your eyes move position,
Oh,
your nose change is because of obviously the amount of collagen and fat that's obviously in that area. The same with your lip, and obviously the jawline changes too. So change can be in a specific area, or it can be the whole face, and it can be one side or the other side. So you can actually have a situation as you get older where you start to use muscles on the one side of your face, and then you have a twist. So from a makeup point of view, it's about actually correcting that. So it's not so there's a lot to it, and a lot of people have got very specific things. So I'll try and talk as general as I can, really. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people put down is actually stress and worry, because although physically your face hasn't changed, I think when you're upset and you're concerned and you're worried, you get, you cry a lot. It can really cause a lot of distress on your skin. And I think a lot of people would always notice somebody who was upset or who was crying. And that can make a lot of changes too. So if you've got somebody who's going through a particularly worrying time, that can make a big difference. And that can last some people might think that's just a day thing, but if somebody really is depressed or upset about something, these conditions of being depressed and upset and crying can go on for many years and can really make an effect on the skin. You can even get red patches around the eye area, which almost become permanent. A simple thing as well is summer to winter. So basically, just the change in your skin in respect of getting a suntan in the summertime, and obviously then your skin goes much paler in the winter. So you might prefer yourself in the winter or prefer yourself in the summer. You've got dryness. Some people suffer with dryness in the summertime. Some people suffer with dryness in the wintertime. So you've got those two things, and that brings on obviously pigmentation as well as redness in the skin too. You've got surgery. Surgery could be planned. So it could be that you've actually decided to go in for surgery, or it could be surgery that's not planned. So it could be something that you've had to have maybe a little mark removed from your skin. You've now got a scar, or it could be that you've got, something that's perhaps some eczema or something that's caused a problem. I think did I touch on medication? Did I talk about medication before? I'm not sure if I've touched on that one, but medication, I'd always suggest people read. If people's skin has gone quite dry, even if it's just the soles of your feet, I suggest you go and have a look at your side effects on the medication that you're taking, because some people might not realize that actually these are some of the effects that the medication can take, and therefore you might be able to talk to your doctor and actually highlight these concerns. And there might be other options that could be making your skin dry, but it also could be making your skin oily. So there's drugs that I know too which can create more oil in the skin. We've got pigmentation, we've got allergies, we've got eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis. And then there's the other one, which is obviously the whole gender change. And you've got transvestites, you've got people who actually want to look different. So they might want to look different for a short period of time, might be just going out that night, or it might be that they want a complete change. So when somebody says to me, what changes do you see in the skin, or what do people come to see you for, or it's massive. It's not just one thing.
so this is a big area. There's change in skin is a big area. How are we going to tackle this? We're usually on for around about an hour or so. How are we going to tackle this? Where do you want to start, EstherMarie?
Okay, so if somebody came to me and they've got a specific, one of those things that I've just said, I'd probably start asking them how it makes them
Mm.
feel, because some people might have changed and actually be quite all right about it. We shouldn't assume that just because you've changed, got a little bit older. I actually prefer myself now than when I was 15. And yet I'm in my 50th year this year. So just because someone's changed, we shouldn't assume that they might not like it. So as a makeup artist, I should never sit there and assume that they want to change. It could be that they're actually quite happy. I mean, I grew the colour out my hair to make myself look distinguished, and so people would start to take me seriously. So everybody does things for different reasons. But the one thing that makes the where I do start to help people is if I identify that those changes are making them feel depressed. Because if they are making them feel like that, they actually stop looking in the mirror. And when you stop looking in the mirror, it actually reflects on so much of your life. It goes right through to even going outside your door, through to the interest of the clothes that you wear, to bothering to go and get your hair cut. Because when you stop looking in the mirror because you don't like what changes you see, which also could be your body as well, for some people, not everybody, for some people it actually makes them work a bit harder, but for some people it can be a downward spiral. And if I can, just with makeup, make them give confidence and self-esteem, it actually has a massive impact on the rest of their life. I touched on before that some people are actually quite happy, so some people are quite happy with the changes, so we should never assume that people are naturally unhappy with the situation. And the other thing is that if you change and this is causing a bit of depression or what have you, it's a massive impact on the people around you. So for some people, I talk to them about making a little bit of an effort sometimes, because it could be their family life with their partner or their work life. If they actually just feel in a really, really unhappy place, something that we should all be concerned or should consider is actually how our moods, and I know you as a coach, Louise, you do this a lot, but how our moods actually reflect and impact on others. And we think it's just us, but we can really cause a lot of stress to everybody around us by being happy and obviously carrying people, or the opposite is obviously being depressed.
Definitely, our moods definitely have an impact on those around us, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think the important thing is that we as coaches are always working on state change, is what we call it, so that we're always in a resourceful state that's appropriate for the situation. And I guess that's where there's so many parallels with coaching with life, because your makeup is about being appropriate, age appropriate, appropriate for the situation.
Yeah.
And I think our skin is the largest organ in our body.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel that, and then when I remember that, I think, wow, it's quite important, isn't it, really, that we listen to the changes in our skin and also support those changes in our skin. Because given that we can see this organ, whereas we can't see our heart, we can't see our liver, we can't see the lungs, we can't see the internal organs, but we can see this organ. And this does give us quite a lot of feedback. And what you've been demonstrating and talking us through is that those changes in our mood, in our health, in our psychology, and in our, I suppose, daily routine, are going to impact on one of the largest organ in the body. So we get to be able to see the impact of our, I suppose, our regime and our lives, which is quite fascinating when you think about it, isn't it?
It is, and we should listen to our skin more, or feel our skin more, because it's definitely something that's talking to us. And they do say that if you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So when you say I want to drink, you're already I think I just reached for mine as well. But when you want a drink, it's actually you're already dehydrated. So it's that that sort of routine of basically, every hour getting a drink or something, because it really does make quite a bit of difference. They say that obviously drinking water does show on your face, but if your skin is dehydrated, it will take at least 4 weeks probably to make a change. You can't just drink a glass of water and expect you might feel a bit better. I was listening to something the other day about water is the oil of your body, so it affects your joints, so it affects the way you feel. So if you're getting out of bed in the morning and you're feeling really, really uncomfortable and your joints are stiff and what have you, the chances are that you are actually, dehydrated. So makes a big difference. So water is free. So your question earlier about what steps we can take, the first one is drink more water. Flushes out the toxins, which are the first thing that sort of like shows in your skin. But there's some little things that we can change as well. So I always talk about hair being one of them. So I've purposely left my hair. I woke up and I've done anything, and I've come today to this interview and I haven't done anything to my hair. So, but as soon as I know myself, if I take my hair and lift it up so it has more of a higher, so it automatically changes my face. So one of the things that we can do, you can do the opposite, which you can scrape it off your face, which can kind of like, drain you. But if you take your hair, so, in the lockdown that we're doing at the moment, I'm a big believer in dry hair shampoo. And it's something that you can use to sort of really like give yourself a boost and have a go with different hairstyles and, pinning your hair back into different positions, because that really does change your face without buying any creams or doing anything. And that can actually give you a little bit of confidence and self-esteem. The other thing that everyone does is they really, really focus on products. And I've had clients who've just gonna find a hair clip, see if I can clip my hair back now. Where have you gone, Louise? I have clients who basically really, really focus on products, and they will buy tons of products. And ultimately, at the end of the day, products, you can just have too much. You need just a few products. Are you back? You need just a few products, especially, I was all on my own, especially if you have allergies. So if you have sort of sensitivity, so, put your thumb on this like chat room and just let us know if you've got red skin. If you've got red, sore skin, I'd really like to ask what products you're using, because your skin, especially if you're using products, your skin should be good. But if you're not using products, then I'd probably say maybe you need to use a product. But if you've got sore red skin, I really like to look at the ingredients inside that product. And there's a chance that the products that you're actually using are what are irritating your skin, which is why I created my own skincare range. If you remember from the talks that we did before, was because, 30 odd years in the industry and I couldn't find anything that worked. So check your medication.
Exactly.
Check your medication. So basically just check, we never read the side effects, do we, on medication? But check them. It might say can cause dry skin, can cause redness in the skin, because that's something that people just don't look at. Sun creams. So there's a big chat about sunscreens, whether we actually should or shouldn't use them, because ultimately we shouldn't be sitting in the sun. We should all actually we should be sitting in the sun, but we should all actually understand that the sun is actually good in moderation. So we know the vitamin D is massively important, but what do they say? Something like 10 minutes in the sun a day gives you your vitamin D a day. Might have got that completely wrong, so don't quote me, but it's not a lot of sun that you need, but you need it on a daily basis. And obviously what we tend to do is we go and fry ourselves in the sun, and we don't understand that actually skin going red in the sun is the first sign of your skin saying, I'm not happy. So the skin going red is actually you've caused damage. You've basically, you've caused damage in the skin, which when you're younger, your skin possibly will protect itself. But we're all not blessed with the same amount of sun protection in our skin, the melanin in our skin. We all know some people go darker, some people go lighter. And then when we get these elements of skin where we've damaged the skin, what tends to happen then is you start to get pigmentation marks. And I'm sure a lot of people will put their thumbs up to that one. I was only talking to somebody on the phone literally last night, and she pushed her face up to the camera and went, "Is that what you mean?" And I said, "Yes." And I'd never seen it in her before. She said, "Where's that?" And it literally had appeared this week. Sun comes out, pigmentation marks come up. And if you're not careful, those pigmentation marks can actually become stronger than your own features. So that's why we tend to sort of cover them up. Who has a hot shower? Okay, so I want you to think of your skin as being a little baby. Would you put a hot baby in a shower? No. So why do we do it when we're an adult?
No,
Why
because it's the most amazing thing.
Do you know? So, and then we come out of the shower and we're bright red and we wonder why. So it's this, again, skin going red is telling you you're hurting it, you're damaging it. So I'm not saying have a cold shower, but one of the little tricks that I get my clients to do is to take my number 2 oil or number 1 oil and actually put that on. Sounds crazy, but to put that on before they go in the shower, right? That will just give their skin, a few seconds of the shock treatment, and you might find it will just help as far as the cooking your skin's concerned. The other thing is shampoo. Never let your hair come forward with the shampoo. Always make sure the shampoo is washed off back. That can be obviously a drying and an irritant onto the skin as well. So that's another thing that you can do. Now, the other thing is change of hair color. So I think change of hair color is going to be happening a lot over the next 4 weeks, because unless you've managed to get unless you're already quite comfortable coloring your hair at home, your partner does it for you, or you're actually wanting to grow your hair color out, those people who just do nothing but go to the hairdressers are obviously going to suffer. So one of the tips I'll do is just tell you when I do a quick demo at the end is how you can cover up the grey in the lockdown. So hang on for that one, might be quite a good one. Makeup, I'll touch on this in the demo, how makeup actually makes you look older. So if you have the wrong texture of product, so although I do live demos, it really is a big difference with the products that you use. So a lot of people all kind of like, and I've had, phone calls from when we went live last week, which was lovely. Those people have said, I saw some of the things that you did last week and I went home and tried it, or was at home and tried it, and, it worked. But for some people, they did it and it didn't work. And then when we did our 30-minute chat on the phone, I got them to show me what they were using. And it might have been the right product, but it was the wrong texture. So texture is the biggest thing. And you're going to say something?
Can you talk? Yes, I was just going to say, can you can you explain what that
means
thing was, how it didn't work, and how you rectified it?
So the easiest way to explain it goes back to DIY, I'm afraid. So it's the difference between buying a matte paint and buying a silk paint, and having a wall that basically is a little bit lumpy bumpy. So if you paint your wall inside your house with a little bit of a shiny paint, it will show all the lumps and bumps. Whereas if you actually use a less shiny product, it will actually make it look more smoother. So texture is more important when I teach in my lessons. Texture is far more important than the colour. And of course, what 90% of people will do is actually focus on the colour as being the key thing. But when I do the demo at the end, I'm gonna give you a little bit of an example. Now, the other thing is, last two things about how we can change before I show you how to do some of these things, is posture. Now, I could write a book about how the girls in the shop sell your products, but one of the big things is if you look downwards, you will always create a bag underneath your eyes, right? So we all know the selfie trick, and I know when I spoke to you last week about it, and you went, the selfie trick. Light up. Okay. So whenever you're sitting, and I would probably say at this point when you're sitting in your lounge, but I would normally say when you go to the restaurant next or you go out, make sure, like on the red carpet, you have the light at 45 degrees. So obviously I'm giving the game away here because you can see the reflection on my glasses that I've got a light in front of me. But if I was to position that light and that light was coming downwards, I would have my eyebrow creating a shadow and I would give myself dark circles. So one of the tricks that you might find some people might do is they will show you the look of a particular product and look in a downward position, put the product on, and basically give you the mirror to look at the finished result. And obviously you're looking up. But you can actually do it yourself by changing your posture. And it comes from obviously your hips right through your back, and obviously all those yoga techniques, shoulders back, head up, neck back, and basically really focus on your posture. And I hope everybody who's watching this is now sitting in an upright position. I bet you
woe
are.
betide you if you aren't. Woe betide you.
Woe betide you. We can actually
I was
see
saying,
you.
yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I was just going to say that whoever's watching this, you must have questions because I've got a gazillion questions. So do come forward with your questions, and EstherMarie will answer them.
So obviously putting your hair up. So I'm going to put my hair up now so I can show you a few things. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was we touched on it earlier, and it did make me. So I always pull my hair up a little bit there so it's not too flat. I normally like it a little bit more up, but we'll leave it at that for now. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is there's something that you can do to change the way you look and feel that has nothing to do with touching your skin or your posture, and that's working on your other senses. So it goes back to what I said earlier, was you completely, which I know Louise thinks the same, but you completely can change the way that you look by your fragrance, because your fragrance triggers an emotion off in your head that makes you feel good. You're only going to buy a perfume because you like the smell of it. And that's why we wear fragrances. And it's the same with food. If you smell something, then you go, oh, that smells lovely. I bet you've got a smile on your face. But if it smells horrible, I bet you'll frown. So fragrances, so think about your senses, that could be putting a nice body lotion on. So there's lots of things that make you feel good that aren't directly reflected in makeup. And as you know, Louise, I try and teach this kind of, as you call me, a makeup coach. I think I might change my name to a makeup coach, because for me it's the whole thing that makes you feel good, just not just putting lots of makeup products on.
I think this is wonderful. I think that notion of having scent. I'm sat here.
You smell it.
I'm not sure if we're talking over each other. Yeah. No, I wish I could. So apologies if in live land we're talking over each other. Behind the scenes we're not, but then I can see that there's a delay. So apologies for that. So the scent is really important, and I am sat here thinking, oh gosh, I wish I could just mist some scent around me now. I like. In fact, I'm not really a perfume person, being where perfume comes from. Your perfume will be vegan, I'm thinking, EstherMarie. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the other thing is that the other thing is that you need to think about popping a little bit of perfume or makeup on, I think, in the lockdown. I think it's one of those things. And I do know clients of mine who do still every morning wake up, and I think now's the challenging time, and pop a little bit of lipstick on. We can all, I think I saw an article on the TV or something last night apparently how people are even stopping using wearing deodorants in the lockdown. But I would really highly encourage people to use products still. Try and keep a little bit of normality, because they are feel good things that make a really big difference.
Definitely. And at the risk of talking over EstherMarie again at the moment, what I would say is look after yourselves and don't get any BO freshly through lockdown. It's important. That's really important. But Esther talks about self-esteem a lot, and these small and basic fundamental things are important to adhere to. So, having a pleasant, I can't get soap, actually. I can only get liquid soap in the supermarket at the moment. Yeah, no, they haven't had any solid soap since the start of the lockdown process. So, there might be some challenges, but there's definitely some liquid soap there. So that's keeping me going, which is fine. And there might be some changes that you just need to think about and plan ahead for, maybe buy some online. Anyway, treat yourself. I think the message here is treat yourself. Make sure that you have some lovely scents around you, because as we know, the sense of smell is very, very important to how we feel. There are three connected senses, and that's what we taste, smell, and what we feel. They're all connected, so they're very, very important to how we understand the world around us. So I want some sweet orange blossom and some neroli, please. Thank you. That would be very nice.
Coming your way.
So EstherMarie.
Okay, so you still there? Yeah.
Still here.
Still there, right? Okay, so let's just move it into a little bit of a demo then. So hopefully what I've been able to show with you there is the fact that the very question of people saying noticing change in your skin is massive. There's a really big thing there, and I have done some and in the process of obviously changing my whole business structure, setting up some workshops which will be probably over a period of like 6 weeks. And there'll be one about 10 years younger and one about like how to use the right products, and just doing them. And basically, they're going to be going to be expensive, but I think they'd be good for people to do. So the biggest thing is really how you're going to cover up what you would class as an imperfection, which to some people might be a spot, some people might be a scar, some people might be a little bit of redness. So we've all got different reasons as to what it is. We didn't touch on the word alopecia as well, because obviously, you've got people with that type of condition too that makes a difference. So if you were to take my foundation product, because obviously I'm not working with clients here, I'm just going to work with the products that I've got. But this is mine, and I always forget to clean it before I'm about to show it you show it you live. But I created this foundation because I wanted a product that you could use in 4 different ways. So I wanted this product to be a tinted moisturizer, your concealer, your foundation, and your camouflage cream. And how you're going to do it is you're going to do it in different textures, and it's the way that you apply it. So if we were to take this product, what you would do is if you'd got a mark on your skin, you would basically leave it, put a blob on, leave it for 10 minutes. What you're going to want that foundation to do is completely dehydrate. So you want all the moisture to come out of it. Then in about 10 minutes time, if it was my foundation, you could actually do this straight away. But if you were using your own foundation, just try this, see if it works. Take your product, leave it. You need it to sort of like set. And then after a few minutes, you can then just do what we call a tapping action. And this tapping action, hopefully you can see this. This tapping action will just press that product in. And talking about DIY again, which I'm sorry I keep talking about. But what DIY will do, the principle of DIY is if you were stenciling on a wall and you wanted to get that really intense makeup, a paint colour, then you're literally doing exactly the same thing, and you're just building the colour up. And then you might find, I might pop a little bit more on. And I would use this same technique if I was covering up a tattoo even, and actually just building it up. A little bit more technical than just using your foundation, because if your skin is brown underneath compared to the rest of your face, so it's darker, so it's got that sun tint colour to it, or if it's redder, or if it's darker, the foundation that you might use on the rest of your face, this might need to be a little bit of a different colour. Now, because we want to keep that product heavy and in coverage, what we would use then is something called a fixing powder. Now, a fixing powder is not like a product that you would use as a foundation. A fixing powder, actually, when you put it on your, sorry, you have to work backwards on these cameras. When you put it on, it actually will just disappear, okay? So you don't want a powder that's going to change the colour of what you've just done. You want it to seal it in without changing any colour. So we would use, or I would use one of my buffing brushes, and we'd take a little bit of the powder onto the brush, and we would just press it into it and keep pressing it until it completely disappears. Now, my powder has turned that waterproof. So you can imagine if you'd got a scar or something and you wanted to, you know, go out and it be covered up all day, that would now seal it in, make a difference. So that's how you would very briefly cover up a scar. What other questions was there? Redness, you'd do the same thing. So you would do a little bit of the redness there. Now, if you had basically got a situation where your makeup was making a real difference, there's a big difference between texture. Let me just go and get me eyeshadows and I'll show you as Louise wanted me to. So here we have two different palettes of eyeshadow. So not that you can see, but one of these palettes is shiny and one of these palettes is matte. Now, if we were to take a shiny product, so let's say, I'm hoping this is going to show up on the camera, but I'm not sure.
So, EstherMarie, just to let you know that what I'm seeing here is a massive delay between what you're doing and what you're saying. So what we're seeing is the past, and what we're hearing, I think, is the present, or near as damn it. So there's a big delay between that. So I don't think people can see. There you go. You're back again. Now it might be different on Facebook,
right?
But I'm just saying what I'm here in the system itself.
Well,
you're back again now. It looks like you are pregnant.
Okay. Well, the good news is that I've done loads of videos of all this. So if anybody writes down in the comment bit, VIP, that tells me that you'd be interested, and I can send you a link to all of these. So this is very hard for you to be able to see because I'm going to have to put my hand in a really peculiar position. But basically, what that might help, Louise, putting me on a bigger screen. But if you take a matte or a shiny product, if this is a shiny product, I don't know if you can see, but some of the textures of the eyeshadow are kind of quite lumpy. And that's what a pearly product will do. So I'm just going to break it down to sort of pearlized and matte. Whereas if I show you matte products, so, and I don't mean MAC as in the brand, I mean matte as in non-pearlized, which are these ones, they automatically look a lot more smoother. So when I talk about my workshops doing 10 years younger, we break it down into actual ingredients and how some of those ingredients inside the eyeshadows are actually making your skin. So if your skin basically had a matte product on, it would look smoother. And if it was pearlized, then it wouldn't look so good. Another thing that you can do as well is if we're talking here on, you know, the steps of like 10 years younger, so just stepping into a little bit of that workshop that I do, one of the tricks that's really good to do is with your mascara, and actually only put your mascara on the top lashes. talked about this before, but if you start putting mascara on the bottom lashes, this part of the eye is actually slightly changed. If you highlight that, you might not see a difference, but if you look at pictures over the decade, you'll actually see how this part has changed. So what we need to do is basically build up these top lashes and put a little bit less on the bottom lashes. You still there, Louise?
Yes, I am. Can I ask a question about eyes? You mentioned how eyes change over time. You said the position of the eyebrows changes. So can you just explain that to us?
It's really simple, because basically what's happened is you'll normally find as you get older, your forehead has got bigger. So again, we speak about that in 10 years younger and how to correct it. But literally your eyebrows have actually just slightly come down a few millimeters. And what we want to do is obviously raise those
Oh,
eyebrows up. So from the last, when I think I was on your page a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about, as a cheat, you can actually put a little bit of hairspray on there to do it. But what we want to do is look at the eyebrow. And when you fill your eyebrows in, it's really important that you fill from the top and not from underneath. Because what we don't want to do is obviously bring the eye down anymore. What we want to do is emphasize the top part of the eyebrow. So fill the top part of your eyebrow in first. You can choose obviously pencil powder, gel, wax, lots of different things, whole workshop in itself. But the easiest for most people to use is a pencil, but you need to make sure that pencils look really, really sharp. And again, there's some videos that I can share about that as well. Taking your,
fantastic.
looking at,
And
yeah.
sorry, EstherMarie, you also mentioned about the eyes lowering, so that the actual, it sounded as if you were talking about the underneath of the eyes going downwards. Is that correct, or have I misunderstood that?
No, it's completely true. But one of the things that has the biggest effect on is, as we get older, we express our face a lot more. And what we can do, if we're not careful, we can have a leading side. So I do have a leading side. This is my leading side. And if you look at me over a period of time, you'll see me that this brow here will start to go higher than what this brow does. So I need to do something that's called face yoga. And if anyone's ever heard of face yoga, brilliant. And if you haven't, tons of videos out there. I was going to do it as a workshop, but to be honest with you, there's so much free stuff out there. Just Google it. And face yoga is something that, for example, very similar to what, if you can imagine somebody who'd had a stroke, they've lost the muscles on this side of their face or in some way, and they need to strengthen them. And just like you've got muscles in your body, you've got a whole layer of muscles all over your face. So you take your weaker side. So this is my weaker side, and you'd use your finger as a weight, and you'd lift your eyebrows up, and you would literally just use the weight of your finger, and this would strengthen this muscle here. So that's just a little taster of what it could be. But there's a whole load of movements that you can do, which is stretching your mouth, strengthening these muscles around here. And it's been commented on, this face yoga as actually really changing your face if you've got that sort of slight twist on your face, which can make a difference. The easiest thing you can do is just look in the mirror and just try and do facial expressions and look at yourself and see if one side of the face is higher than the other. And if this eyebrow is higher or lower, try and lift it. And you have to do what's called brain training. And you really have to, a bit like when I broke my leg and I had to learn to walk again, you've got to connect that muscle to your brain and get it working again. And you'd be really surprised with my treatment oil and doing face yoga, you'd be amazed at how much you can change your face.
So can I ask you about the notion of not putting mascara on your lower lashes?
Yeah.
So you are saying put them on the end of the upper lashes, but no mascara on the lower lashes. So how does that affect the size of eyes, for example?
So in 10 years younger, all the workshops that I do for 10 years younger, it's all about defying gravity. And what we want to do is make sure everything we look at goes in an upward direction. So we don't focus on anything that comes down. That includes your eyelashes. So by
Wow.
focusing on this part of the eyelashes, we're actually drawing attention to the top part of our eye rather than the bottom part of our eye, which has probably just sagged a little bit. The other thing, as we get older, we tend to lose hair. So we'll probably find that we might have about 6 eyelashes underneath our eyes. So my argument is, why highlight the 6 eyelashes? You'll actually draw more of attention to it, whereas you're better off focusing on making and really building those top lashes. It will give your eye a lot more interest, and it will make your eye look a lot more open as well.
Fascinating, thank you. EstherMarie, you mentioned about noses changing shape because of the fat moving and distributing in different places around your body.
Yeah.
I've honestly never heard that before. I'm sure lots of people who are listening to this will have heard that. I personally haven't. I'm intrigued by that. So I know that certainly the fat content in my face has changed. It sits around my what do you call this part of your face
I
here?
can't see
The
you.
jowl area. Oh,
Here.
you can't see me, can you not?
No, I'm talking
Okay,
to
let
myself.
me come back
Hello,
on.
you're back.
And apologies, everybody. I've got a bit of hay fever, so I'm a bit on the bunged up side. Here, there's a lot of fat, sort of, and I keep looking in the mirror and going, oh, maybe it's facelift time. That's what I keep
So,
doing. Maybe facelift.
so exactly the same as obviously toning this here. Obviously the whole thing comes down, and we've got muscles here that we smile with. If you put your fingers on your cheeks as you smile, you'll feel that muscle, just like if you put your hand on your leg, on your thigh, when you lift your leg up, you'll feel that muscle engage. So if you just put your hands on your face, and you'll feel all the different muscles that move. One of the muscles obviously that we would need to do is, there's 2 muscles. These muscles here can become very tight. So these muscles here can almost have a pulling down sensation. And obviously these muscles here can become very weak. And they literally come from like your ears. And if you go and have a nose at this face yoga, you literally do all sorts of exercises like wiggling the ears and all loosening off some of the muscles and tightening up some of the other muscles. Going back to what you were saying about the nose, it's exactly the same as your lips. So basically you lose the collagen and the elastin, and your nose can become like, we always talk about little babies' noses being like a little button, that sort of cute little chubby little baby nose. And then as you get older, obviously the structure, and they become a lot more bony. You tend to find this goes quite bony, but you tend to sort of still have it on this part of the nose, and it can literally change the face shape of the nose. And that's when you start to see, a lot of people call them dark circles, but they're actually just in this area here, and it's literally the lack of fat in that area that means that you can probably just see a little bit of the blood supply, and that's what gives it that darker color. And it's because you've lost that little bit of padding that's in the eye area. And that comes into a whole new conversation about how you look after your skin, because it's probably the time when you've noticed the changes in your skin that you've probably realised that maybe you shouldn't have gone in the hot showers for the last 20 years, and you shouldn't have rubbed your eyes, and maybe, we shouldn't have sat and pulled our eyelashes out, and we shouldn't have had all those nuts because the teeth are falling out. But by the time we get to that stage, it's a bit late. The statement that I said last time, youth is wasted on the young. So what we're trying to do is cover things up or pad them out. There's a lot of things on the market there that say that they're fillers. But I can honestly say, when you look in the mirror and just see, obviously, if you're a big smiley person, here, called laughter lines, but it is just that. It's just where you smile, and that area creases up. So try and smile and open your eyes and try not to squeeze these muscles together when you smile. Try and open up your eyes when you smile. So, you know, those little things can make a big difference. I bet everyone's doing it now who's
Wow, there's
watching.
so much. Yeah, I'm sure so, and I'm doing it as well. But there's so much, isn't there? So, what
Yeah.
would you say are, we've got about 10 minutes left or so, Esther-Marie. What would you say are the next few things that we can do to enhance our beautiful faces?
Well, I'm always talking about my contouring and basically how your your contour. Just grab my little pot. So my favourite product. I just do it in one shade now because that shade seems to suit absolutely everybody. I had a lady from last time speak to me briefly on the phone, and she was showing me after this. She said, "But you didn't use any blusher." And I said, I know, because you don't really need it. So she was a bit gobsmacked when we
Mm.
didn't do the blusher thing. But I'm not going to talk about age here, but definitely in the 80s, it was all about blusher. And obviously now we've moved into more of the contour. So it's working on this area here to really understand. And on my workshops, we will map your face and basically work out where your ins and your outs are, so you know exactly where to put the product.
So, Esther-Marie, I just want to stop you there because as far as I am seeing that delay again. So I'm seeing you from literally probably about almost 60 seconds ago. There's that much of a delay. So you look like you're back now. It's funny, every time I see this, it seems to reset itself. So there must be some magic in my words somehow. Um, it's a very weird thing. So go through the contouring again because I'm not sure that we've seen that on Facebook.
Okay, so basically, I always talk about your contour, and if you watch the YouTube videos, they will all tell you to do it the same way, using lots of different products and what have you. But one of the things that I do on my workshops is we map out your individual face shape, because if you copy what's the standard, do it this way, like me showing you how to do it, it works for most people, but there's some tweaking that we can do. So, for example, if somebody has very high cheekbones, the last thing that they should be doing is putting loads of contour here, because they will literally look, it will literally pull their face in and do the wrong thing. So for them, they might be more better off focusing in this area, putting their product. Somebody who has a wide forehead, we would probably put more contour here. Somebody has a very small forehead, the last thing we want to do is put any contour in this area, because it will actually make their forehead look a lot smaller and make that hairline look even closer to the face. So, but in a nutshell, contour is definitely a very good product to use. Talk a lot to clients who have fringes. So you've got a fringe there, Louise. So I don't think you use much makeup anyway, but do you actually put any products underneath your forehead, underneath your hair?
Yes, I
Do you?
do. And I don't use much, but yes, I do.
Just lift your fringe up. Okay, so what I want to highlight there with Louise is, would you say your forehead is less red to what your face is?
On this screen, my cheeks are quite pink, aren't they? I would mm, slightly less red.
Yeah, so I'd say it's slightly less red. So what that is a perfect scenario of showing you how the sun damages your face. And one of the things that I always
Mm.
find with clients is that if they've got a fringe, they've got they haven't got so much colour, whether it be tan, redness, or pigmentation in their forehead. They've got this beautiful fair skin, and light skin, like clothes, always looks bigger. So you'll always find somebody who's not
Oh,
caught the sun will have a bigger forehead. So if you now take your hair off your face and do like a little bit of a restyle, if you were going out or something, you'd probably feel a bit uncomfortable because you'd probably feel there's just too much forehead on show. And that's where makeup,
I always feel like I've got a massive forehead, which is why I keep
yeah,
with a fringe, because I
yeah.
just think, oh my God, look at the size of the
So
forehead,
what?
it's enormous.
So you've got this tan and redness on your face, and you've got it here as well. So this looks smaller, but your forehead looks probably a good 20% the size of what it actually is, because it's fairer. So that's a typical example. And makeup is exactly the same as an artist taking a blank piece of paper and making someone's face, drawing someone's face and painting it and making it look like it's got all the texture of the nose in. And that's exactly the same as what makeup is. And obviously that artist, to draw someone's face, is going to be completely, so to draw a child's face compared to drawing an old man's face is going to have a lot more shadow and texture and contour in it than both of them, which is what gives them depth. What we're going to do is, where the dark bits are, we're going to make them lighter, and where the light bits are, we're going to make them darker. And that's why it's so unique and different to everybody.
Wow, that's so much information here. Thank you, EstherMarie. That's really fascinating.
I try and give you a little bit, but seriously, my workshops are, you learn it all. The other thing is, the
Yeah.
other area that tends to look bigger than what it should is the eye area, which can be caused by people wearing sunglasses or glasses, because they are great because they actually protect the area from the sun, but in doing so makes this area very light, which then this area becomes light, and then the eye looks smaller. So we want the skin area to look smaller,
Ah,
eye to look bigger. So a little bit of technical there, so I better stop.
oh,
So
that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So we haven't had any questions. I can't imagine why we haven't had any questions, because this is just so fascinating, EstherMarie. And thank you very much indeed for being with us whilst we're here on this lockdown process. It's a lovely bit of makeup techniques on a Saturday afternoon. We've become quite used to it, and very much looking forward to it. And lots of people have been telling me how much they enjoy all of the broadcasts, and they're really enjoying the makeup tricks as well. So I literally feel a lot better about my forehead, because I've always thought I had an abnormally large forehead. It's
if
not
I
why I
could,
wear a fringe.
yeah, if I could, I would drive over there and sort you out. But literally, we can do it online. We can literally sort it out online. And
Yeah,
the great thing about the workshops now that I'm doing online is, because I can't touch someone to do it, what we do is
yeah,
basically I send you the products in advance, so you have the products,
yeah,
okay? And then when I'm
yeah.
using my product, you've got that product, and that's all part of the deal that I'm doing. And the idea is, people feel so rewarded by it, because it's actually not me who's done it. They've done it themselves, and because I can share my 32 years of knowledge of how to do it so much more easier than what the YouTube videos do, they do it and they sit in the mirror, and it's kind of like, I can't believe I've just done that, and I can't believe it's made so much difference. So within an hour's lesson, they've got it, they've sorted. So I
Yeah.
actually think it's better.
Well, I think it's fantastic, to be honest, because also that idea about the eyes, because I always think, I have to look at myself on the screen all of the time, and I always think my eyes look so piggy, but actually I've got quite big eyes, but they always look piggy. They always look very small and slitty. I don't know why I'm saying piggy.
So if you
Piggy's
look
eyes.
at if you look in them if you look at your screen now, yeah, and I want you
Yeah, yeah.
lift your hair off, lift your hair off your forehead, and I want you to lift your eyebrows up, right? That will do two things. It will make your forehead smaller, and it'll make your eyes bigger. You can do
But
it like
yeah,
that.
okay.
So
Like
you just
that.
want to get
What do
your
you mean like that?
eyebrows.
I like that.
So Just do it with your
Oh, I'm
muscles.
not sure that
Lift your eyebrows up.
like that.
Yeah. Now, if you do,
Okay.
if you lift your eyebrows up and hold them there, that's hard work. But that's the same as going to the
Mm.
gym and working on your legs. It's a muscle. And basically, what you've got to do is you've
Yeah.
got to get that muscle working hard again. And what's happened is you've probably done a lot of computer work and you're doing this all the time and you're probably looking at stuff. That downward muscles become stronger than that muscle. And because you get a
Oh my
fringe,
God, yeah.
what happens with a
Mm.
fringe? People stop using their eyebrows because you can't see them.
Stop using them. Stop. I stopped
So they
using my
stop doing
eyebrows.
this. But you'd be really
Wow.
surprised if you take your hair back off your face, how much more expressive your face becomes.
Right. Okay. Well, there's something to think about, isn't it? That's definitely something to think about. See, I always like my quite punky. I like a punky fringe, really. The punkier, the better.
Yeah.
So, but it is very wayward, is my fringe. That is fascinating, EstherMarie. Thank you so much for that.
And
And we
it's
haven't
all
even covered.
it's all about what I preach, which is you need a wardrobe of looks, Louise.
I
So
do. I
when I
need a
see you on
wardrobe
net
of
here next time, I expect a parting in the middle.
You'll never get me with a pattern in the middle. Um, I do wear my hair up a lot, obviously.
See, look
So
at the
this is what I do
difference.
a lot. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, but sometimes I get totally fed up with that because I spend most of my time with my hair up like this.
So
Because in the morning I've got a big crocodile clip,
what
and
about
what
doing it
I
on
do
the
is I get up in
side?
the morning. Well, yeah, what? Hair on the
You could
side.
have it
Yeah,
up
well, I do
and
sit with my
down
hair on the side a lot.
and have it on the side.
There you go. Yeah, I do. I often wrap it round. I play with my hair quite a lot, but you've got a beautiful face. You've got that lovely olive complexion, and I think you've just got that lovely
Yeah, but
ability to be able to
if
look
I do
stunning.
this, okay,
Ah!
so so now I've approved, or even you have so many people with this
Ah!
hairstyle that's like that. So
Yeah,
you tell me, does that change
yeah.
my face?
Yeah, but actually, I think you do look stunning like that as well. It does change your face dramatically. Well, now you're hiding half your face, so we can hardly see you. It's like you've got
But
curtains.
it does make a
But yeah,
difference. Your hair does make a difference.
yeah, it really. And when you were talking earlier about sort of hair colour, so I spent a year growing my hair out and going grey, and
Yeah.
I was so super excited to begin with. I was really like, I'm doing this, and my hairdresser was on board. We were super excited about what it was gonna be like. And a year later, I just couldn't cope with it because my grey is very ashy, and so it started to draw my features down. And so that's why I've gone. That's why I've gone lighter. You can see now I'm ready for colour. It'll be a while before we get any colour, won't it?
Have you ever
My lovely hairdresser.
on
I
Instagram?
texted my hairdresser. Sorry.
I was just saying on Instagram, there's some really amazing
Mm,
sites, and I think the one thing that I've learned growing my colour out is obviously I have these pockets of colour. Is you have to really work on style and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You have to kind of make a little bit of an
yeah,
effort, otherwise it really does look like you've not
yeah,
bothered.
yeah. No, when you've got three dogs and horses and all sorts of things and a busy business, this is the thing of the day. So often I do this first thing in the morning, and that's it for the rest of the day, unless I have my hair down, which is like, and then all I do is just that's it. That's your lot.
Well,
What you get.
what I always do, reach for me reach for my number 2. And then it's always, and that to me just always
Always there,
that
always ready.
gives you that smell, and
Fantastic.
then
You have,
your
yeah,
nails
there's that smell again, that smell of the neroli and the sweet
television,
orange, and then yeah, I know.
and then don't forget
You're gonna have to send me some products.
your
So anyway, thank you so much. So we've been on for an hour and 5 minutes. I hope you guys who've been listening have been enjoying it. Thank you very much, for tuning in. A lot of people are watching these broadcasts later in the evening when the children have
yeah, they
gone to bed
do.
and so on. I'm really enjoying them. So do put your comments and your questions down in the comments section below. And EstherMarie will be back with us next Saturday. We're going for 3 o'clock. Is it better on the broadband? Marginally, although this afternoon has been challenging again because of the delays. We've been able to hear you consistently, but I'm not sure that it's been synced up necessarily. And it probably goes the same for myself here. But we can only go with the broadband that God gives us,
I think
whoever that is.
I think I've in my own business as well. I think going live with demos is very difficult. So that's why I've done, some set videos of different things. So they're exclusive to my free VIP club. So I just need an email off you, and then when I've got your email, I can send you the links to them. So they're just little segments of things broken down to the difference between my oils, to anything that anyone asks me to do. I then video it for them, and then I publish it.
Brilliant. Add me into your VIP club, please, EstherMarie. That would be phantasmagorical. And I hope you have a really fantastic week. We've got a really busy week ahead of us. We're starting our NLP practitioner certificate on Thursday evening. We've got one of our diploma in coaching with NLP. We've got one of those coming to an end. I think it's the last taught session next week on the Monday evening. So we've got big stuff happening. These are really emotional times for us when we get to the end of the taught programs, and then people submit their evidence, and then they get their certificates, and it's all wonderful. So we've got a really, really busy week ahead of us. Lots of work to do with the doggies who are fast asleep here. And we thank you very much indeed. So 3 o'clock next Saturday, EstherMarie.
And Sherry's.
All right, my darling. You take care. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.